Hi everybody, welcome back. It's been a little while. I'm glad to be here, and today I'm doing my first ever Radical Therapist book review with this book, Art in the Afterculture, Capitalist Crisis and Cultural Strategy by Ben Davis. And those of you who might not know Ben Davis, he is an art critic, writer, just a really smart guy that I actually had I was fortunate to meet in New York last year and spend a little bit of time with him in conversation, and that was really nice. But and then went and got his book and read it. And so those of you who've been following the Radical Therapist for a while know that I don't get much inspiration out of like what's happening in our field. And I kind of seek inspiration and innovation outside of our field. I mean, I don't know how much longer we're going to have to endure another trauma-informed whatever or attachment-informed whatever, but so it is. But so I seek inspiration outside of our field, and I found a ton of inspiration in this book. And Ben is just a really smart critic. He does criticism well in an age of what Bruno Latour would call like instant psychology, instant sociology, or instant revisionism. This is really smart analysis of many of the problems we're facing in our contemporary culture, and I just found it really, really helpful. There's chapters on, let me get there real quick, like conspiracy theory, elite capture and radical shake, which, Radical Therapist, aesthetics, AI and aesthetics, cultural appropriation and cultural materialism. It's just really, really great stuff. And let me read a little part of it, and then I'm going to tell you why I'm really excited about this book. But this is from the chapter on the anarchist in the network, and it goes, just a little snippet from it. Social media has served as a tool to break certain kinds of old information monopolies, but it has channeled its users towards seeing themselves as small, hyper-competitive information entrepreneurs, could be guilty of that, whose self-conception and livelihood depend on the endless quest for differentiation in an attention economy. You see that happening? So the very same media conditions that have allowed for the recent diffusion of socialist ideas also incentivize the kinds of individualist ideas of political change that a socialist politics needs ultimately to break with. Organizing a single Amazon distribution center would be worth more than 1 million people making radical content in terms of showing that it is actually possible to change the way society is run. Good stuff. So anyway, but why I'm really excited about this is this book, actually. Those of you who've been following my work recently, I just did a talk or hosted a conversation with the Taos Institute that I titled Disciplined Imagination, Composing the Future in Therapy. And I've become really interested in future scenarios, or how we help people that are entering into some form of liminal space, how we help them have some sort of prediction of the experiences they might experience. But Ben does this beautiful thing in an epilogue, if you can see that. I don't know if it's backwards or whatever, where the epilogue is art in the afterculture, and it's a wonderful example of a future scenario. And it's just this imagining of the world after. He calls it the near post-capitalist era, which actually happens after the late capitalist era, or the capitalist crisis era, CCE, LCE. And he does this nice epilogue. It's only a couple of pages, but it's an imagining of of a future scenario, like in the near post-capitalist era, things that have had to been overcome, and what is happening in the moment. And I just think it's a great example of scenario work, or a future scenario. And when you read it, you can kind of, I'd be curious if you do read it, like how you're left after reading it. And this is a thing I think about therapy, how conversations of the future influence our present. And I think that's very, very important. So even just for the epilogue alone, I think as an example of perceiving possible futures in a world where critique is dominant, where we're losing our ability. I mean, everybody's great at critique now. Bruno Latour, we're just great at putting ruins upon ruins. But Ben Davis goes a step further and actually creates a future scenario, what it might look like near post-capitalism, and it's just exciting to me. So there you have it, Radical Therapist's first book review, Art in the Afterculture by Ben Davis. Highly recommended. Give it a look, and if you can shout at me if you don't like it, or you can be in conversation with me about what you like about it, right? So anyway, as always, smash the like button, subscribe, or whatever, wherever you're at, and I appreciate you listening. Peace.